Uh, hope you're all well and in good health. So as usual, we're just going to go through the plan for today, see what the market has in store for us. So it's just a question of going through the trading plan, getting all the facts together, and then decide the best way to approach the markets today. And then, of course, afterwards, we'll take all your questions, comments, issues. And like I said, the session can either last 5-10 minutes or 30-40 minutes, depending on you all and your questions, comments, and what you have. So obviously, once we've analyzed the markets, decided what we're going to do for today, if you've got other things to do, you're welcome to log off. But if you have questions, you can stay on. And like I said, I'll take all the questions till the bitter end, no matter how long it takes. And of course, the recording will be posted on the platform. So even if you have to leave to get on with your day, you can catch up with what we've done later on the recording on the platform. Okay, let's kick off. So as usual, we start off looking at the economic calendar. The main markets we're now looking at two markets, the Euro-US dollar and the dollar Canadian dollar. So those are the two markets we'll be assessing. Again, if you're new to trading, you just stick to trading one market. So if you're new to trading, just stick to trading one market, preferably the Euro-US dollar. Like I say, if you do want to trade multiple markets, do make sure you watch the money management part 2 on the platform. So if you go to the featured section, you can look for the recording on money management part 2 and make sure you watch the session on money management part 2. We'll probably have that session again shortly, just as a recap. Okay, so today is Tuesday, the 27th of April. Again, make sure you're using your own time zone wherever you are in the world. Make sure you're using your own time zone. I'm currently in Rwanda, so I'm using GMT +2. So the times I will be quoting are GMT +2 times, but obviously make sure you have your own economic calendar set to your own time zone. So today, Tuesday, 27th of April, we're looking for reports of high importance or medium importance that could affect the Euro-US dollar or the dollar Canadian dollar. So let's get started. So you can see the Bank of Japan interest rate decision that's come and gone. So obviously, if you're trading currencies paired with the yen, you would have been ready for that report and trading that report. Let's see what else is coming out today. You can just ignore reports of low importance. We can also ignore reports from Italy, Hong Kong, France. All those stuff have nothing to do with us. Mexico, low reports, you can just ignore them. Anything to do with the housing market is worth noting, but it won't stop you from trading. So you can see there's a report of medium importance house price index out of the United States at 3 Rwandan time, 3 p.m. GMT +2. And again, as you know, reports from the United States affects all markets. So all currency pairs, all stock markets, all financial markets are affected by reports out of the United States. But again, this is a report of medium importance. That won't stop you trading, but it's worth noting. So if you do have a trade prior to this, then it's worth checking your trades around that time. Like I said, anything to do with the housing market. But you can see at 4 o'clock, again, Rwandan time, GMT +2. That's a report of high importance, the CB Consumer Confidence Report. So that's a report of high importance. So you want to avoid trading prior to the last report of high importance of today. And the last, as you can see, that's the last report of high importance today is the CB Consumer Confidence Report out of the United States at 4 o'clock. GMT +2. Like I said, this will affect all markets because it's due out of the United States. Again, if you're new to trading, it's always good to check what the reports are about. If there's nothing there, you can always just Google it. I'm not going to go through it, but you can just Google it and find out what this report is all about. because it's good to begin to judge, the significance of the report, and you can read about it. So that's what Google is there for. So sometimes, the details of the report, you might find it there, a summary of the report. But if you don't find it, like in the case here where there's nothing here, you can just Google it and find out. But the fact is a report of high importance. Ideally, you want to avoid trading prior to this report at 4 p.m. So that's the plan for today. So far, we're going to do some more checking. So we now know there's a report at 4 p.m. GMT +2 due out of the United States, a report of high importance, which would affect all currency pairs and all financial markets. So there's a high probability of the markets trending sideways prior to that report. So we want to avoid trading prior to that report. You also want to look at the next 7 days to see if there's anything else that's due out that could affect your trading today. So it's good to look at the rest of the week, which I usually post on a Monday on the platform, what's coming up for the rest of the week. So it's always good to check what's coming up later on the week, especially interest rate decisions, because currencies are very sensitive to interest rate decisions. So you always want to check for that. So tomorrow is Wednesday the 28th, and tomorrow we have a huge report coming out tomorrow evening, the US Fed interest rate decision. So again, this is a US state interest rate decision. And again, being the United States, that's going to have an impact on all markets, all currency pairs, all stock markets, all commodities market, all the markets are going to be affected by this report coming out tomorrow evening, Rwandan time at 8 p.m., the US interest rate decision. So there's actually a probability of the markets just trending sideways the whole of today, the whole of tomorrow, leading up to that report tomorrow evening, Rwandan time, the US interest rate decision. So that's tomorrow, Wednesday. Then Thursday, the 29th, we have the German unemployment rate. Obviously, that could affect the euro-US dollar. Also the German inflation rate, and the US GDP growth rate. But the main and the major report for this week and the mega report for this week is the US interest rate decision due out tomorrow evening. So in view of that, coming back to today, like I said, now that we know that the US interest rate decision is coming out tomorrow evening, and there's a high probability of the markets just trending sideways leading up to Wednesday, because the markets are anticipating and waiting for that report. So there's a likelihood, again, you don't use the words always or never when you're trading. The words always or never do not exist. So what we're saying is that there's a high probability of all markets just trending sideways leading up to the interest rate decision tomorrow evening. So in view of that, we're going to be extremely cautious trading today because we know of the report coming out tomorrow. So number one, we'll avoid trading prior to this report at 4. And even when we reassess the market again at 4, I will just have one live attempt. So again, today is not today to be having 3 attempts at the market today in view of the high probability of the markets trending sideways leading up to the US interest rate decision tomorrow evening. So today I will only be having one live attempt at the market, and that will be around 4 p.m. when the US report of high importance is due out. So again, that's what you need to do every day, is just taking all the factors into consideration and then decide which is the best way to approach the markets for that day. Is this a day to be having 3 attempts a day? So you can now see, because of the assessment we've just done using the economic calendar, we know today is not a day for having 3 attempts at the market. We're just going to have one live attempt, and that will be around 4 o'clock when the US CB Consumer Confidence Report comes out. You also want to keep an eye on Market Watch to see if there's anything that could be creating uncertainty in the global markets. But as you can see, there's really nothing major causing uncertainty, especially when it comes to currency trading. Obviously, there's a lot happening in the stock market. Stock market is very sensitive to all this stock market news, but with currencies, it tends to be global issues to see if there are any trade wars between China and Europe, China and America. It's North Korea firing missiles. Is there mounting problems between Russia and America? So it tends to be, are there sanctions? Are there trade sanctions, trade wars? So it tends to be major things like that tends to affect the currencies in terms of uncertainty. But you can see there's really nothing major going on that's creating uncertainty in the world. And there are no public holidays today in the UK or in the USA. Obviously, you would note that next week, Monday, is a bank holiday in the UK. So next week, Monday, is a bank holiday in the UK. And since it's a public holiday in the UK, next week, Monday, you want to avoid trading next week, Monday. But today, no public holidays in the UK or USA. So let's have a look at the charts. We're not going to place any orders because we're going to wait till 4 p.m., but let's just have a look at the charts. We'll start with the swing trading. So I'll start with the EURUSD. So I'll go to the daily time frame, T1. So I'm currently in a live swing trade. So you can see where the market broke the moving average on the 13th of April. Took my swing trade order at the time with 100 pips stop loss. Then once the market moved 100 pips in my direction, I've now started moving my stop loss with the moving average. So today, put my cost on the moving average today, it's 1.1920. So 2 pips below that to be 1918. So I'll just adjust my stop loss to 1918. So that's it for the swing trade. So I'll just keep adjusting my stop loss with the moving average every day until the market takes me out. So that's it for the swing trading. So I'll go to the 5-minute time frame for the day trading. So we can see here where the market has been trending down, forming lower lows and lower highs. So you can see the market has been trending down. Again, that's the first thing you want to do anytime you analyze the market, is to check for the trend first. So now we can determine it's trending down. Well, initially, but you can see here where it formed the low, went up from the high, but you can see that low was not lower than the last low. So you can see it's now trending sideways. And I'll just mark, this is now the highest point of the sideways trend, and this is the current lowest point. Let's start with the lowest point. So I'll put my cursor over this candlestick. Look at the data window. The low there is 1.2064, 1.2064. I only want to see it in the 5-minute time frame. Okay. And that's the low. And then the high will be one of the candlesticks. High there is 1.2075. 2075. There we are. So that's the current sideways of market's currently trending sideways. Initially trending down, now trending sideways. You can see the pivot point and S1 are outside the sideways trend. But like I said, in view of the report coming out at 4 p.m. and of course the US interest rate decision tomorrow, I'm just going to leave the market alone for now. I'm not going to place any pending orders, and I'll wait till around 4, reassess and decide where to place my pending orders then. So let's do the dollar Canadian dollar. So again, we start with the daily time frame, D1, for the swing trade. Look at the candlestick for today, the 27th. I use the moving average 100 for the dollar Canadian dollar. So I use the moving average 100 on the dollar Canadian dollar and the pound dollar. But for all other markets I trade, I use the moving average 50. So the moving average 100 for the dollar Canadian dollar today is 1.2630. So 2 pips above that would be 1.2632. So I'm just going to adjust my pending order to 2632. 2 pips above the moving average, and stop loss 100 pips, 2532. So again, I'm not in a live trade with the dollar Canadian dollar. So now I'll be moving my pending buy order with the moving average until the market goes up, breaks it, and takes my order. So that's all I need to do for my swing trade with the dollar Canadian dollar. So I'll go to day trade, M5. So you can see with the M5, where there was a sharp drop in the market yesterday, and then since then it's just been trending sideways, not going anywhere. So again, I'll just mark out the sideways trend. The high there is 2414. 2414. Again, I just want to see it in the 5-minute time frame, and that's the high. And the low as points is that candlestick. The low there is 2383. 2383. Okay, so now marked out the sideways trend. We can see again the pivot point is outside the sideways trend and S1. This could be potential trading points or trading entry points. But again, the same with the US Canadian dollar. I'm just going to leave it alone until the US report at 4 p.m. Rwandan time. Okay, so that's my plan for today. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can either raise your hand or send your question through the chat box. Any questions, problems, comments, issues? Hello, morning, my dear trader. Waiting to hand over.
Amen. As long as I make my millions, no. As I say, no wala.
No wala.
Yeah. My question is just a very quick observation.
Okay.
I know you're saying that it's your time frame is GMT +2. Yeah. But I've had to kind of remind myself that for us in the UK, it's actually now GMT +1.
Yes.
Because I was getting a bit, because it was confusing me. I thought +2 because we've moved ahead. When we were 2 hours behind, it was a bit easier, but I'm always having to remind myself that actually it's +1. So when you say the report's coming out at 4, for us in the UK, it's actually 3 o'clock.
Yes, but that's actually why it's always good to just set the time zone on the economic calendar, so you don't have to worry. And the beauty about with the economic time calendar is updated with the time clock too. So if you click on the drop-down menu next to the time zone, so you click on the drop-down menu there, you can either click auto detect, or you can then look for London. Let's look for London, which will be GMT +1. So you can see here GMT +1, which is British summertime, Lisbon, London. So you can just select it and it will just be there GMT +1 automatically for you. So that's why I always say during the presentation for everyone to make sure they set their time zone to their own time zone. So now that it's now GMT +1, you can see the report is coming out at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Showing 3 p.m. Let me quickly change it back. So you can see what I did. I just clicked on auto detect and it went to GMT +2.
Then just a quick question. Yesterday was quite an interesting day because the market was consistently trending downwards. It was trending downwards. So there were no, and at one point there were no, obviously there weren't any sell opportunities because it had gone out of S2.
Yeah.
And equally, when I look, I mean, I didn't intend to, I had already set my order, but when I looked at it again, I said, if I was just coming into the market again, I probably wouldn't even be able to put in a buy sale because the moving average itself was right at the bottom and the S2 kind of region. So just to confirm that if I hadn't entered the market and if I did want to enter, there wouldn't have been any buy opportunities because if I remember correctly, we're always buying above the moving average or below the moving average.
Yes, we're buying above the moving average and selling below the moving average.
Yeah, yeah.
But actually, there was a buy opportunity yesterday, which I posted on the platform.
Oh yeah, I did buy, but it never took my buy.
Oh yeah, you don't expect it to. I mean, sorry, there's no guarantee we'll get there.
Yeah,
so if it doesn't get there, as usual, you just delete it.
Yeah.
But actually, a couple of things actually yesterday, because you can see, you can see for the dollar, Canadian dollar, especially with the huge drop yesterday for the dollar, Canadian dollar. But again, this is the beauty about trading. I'll actually highlight a few things here. This is actually why trading is high risk. This is why it's important. This is why money management is important. This is why we always say that you don't use the words always or never. So because the market, people always have to remember the market is not a textbook. It doesn't follow any textbook. It doesn't follow any pattern because it's just real people trading a real market. So I always remind people that anything can happen at any time for no reason. Anything can happen at any time for no reason. Because yesterday there was no economic announcement, there was no earth-shattering news, there were nothing happened. There was just really nothing to shake the market yesterday, whereas it just dropped. So crazy things can happen for no reason. So this is why it's important, to always protect yourself with stop losses and, money management, because anything can happen. And you can also, because, and this is why you can't say, oh, because it's Monday, there are no reports, the market is guaranteed not to move. So that's why you can never use that word always or never, because anything can happen at any time for no reason. So I think that's just to highlight that point for everyone that, this is why it's important to have a trading plan, why it's important to be consistent, to stick to your plan, apply good money management, do your assessment according to your plan, put all the safety measures in place, and then place your trade and hope for the best. That's the best you can do really as a trader. And again, that's why it's high risk. So again, like we did today, we have no idea what's going to happen today. For example, again, before 4 p.m. today, the market could either go up 100 pips or drop 100 pips. But we are not going to trade based on that. We have no idea. Nobody knows what's going to happen from this moment till 4 p.m. But we just know based on historical data that there's a likelihood, again, not a guarantee. You don't use the words always or never. We just know that based on historical data, there's a likelihood the markets could trend sideways prior to the last report at 4. And also because there's a US interest rate report tomorrow evening, there's a likelihood it could trend sideways all day today and tomorrow leading up to that report. And in view of that, I'm just going to have one attempt today around the US report at 4 p.m. Rwandan time. That's the best you can do as a trader, because other than that, anything can happen, completely out of your control. Okay, I noticed you went in and out, Paula.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I had two things on because one of my laptops died on me, so I was using my, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Any other questions? Any other questions, comments before we go for breakfast? Or some people have to go to bed. Some people have to go to bed, some have to go for breakfast. Any questions, comments? Going, gone. Okay, good. So if there are no questions, I wish you all a wonderful day or good night's sleep. And we'll catch up on the platform. And like I said, the recording will be posted on the platform once it's processed. So have a good day. Take care.